Chappadoo. I think I got it to work. I think it's working. I don't know what you're seeing, but I think it's working. I don't know what you're hearing, but I think it's working. I think once I see that commercial come up, I think stuff starts working. I don't know. Everybody there? Is that me in that little thing? How's my audio check there, Wayne Daly? Yo, bung wires. Yeah, don't worry about the small image. Welcome. Do I have audio? Yeah? Working all good? So, yeah, okay, I got audio. Hey, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. If you guys can hear me, that's fantastic. That's a miracle of technical achievement because you can't see it on camera right now, but I am in front of my colossal new setup. So, holy crap. So this morning, it's Saturday morning, nobody doing shit. We all gotta like run around and do Christmassy stuff later today. It's gonna be awesome. But for now, we're all in our hoodies. We got no underwear on. I'm not even wearing pants, but you wouldn't even know. So I just thought we could just kick it for a second. And I was gonna maybe do a sculpt here because that's where this is all headed. So just stay with me for a second. So you should be seeing, I'm flying around. Okay. So I had a problem there where my canvas was way too small. I had like low resolution on this brand new like giant monitor that I have. On this giant PC, on this giant table. This stuff is crazy. Okay. Oh, hey, nice. Well, hello from America there, Jose. Good to have you from Portugal. Okay, so I got a lag, so I need to make sure my thing flies across. Okay, yeah, there, I'm flying around. Okay, cool. That time lag is also always so strange. So, just bear with me. Where's all my stuff? Man, I'm just in crazy land over here. Okay, so there's this window. And I don't really see what's going on too good. So you're just going to have to hang tight. Okay, so once I go into my headset, I won't be able to see the chat line. So that part sucks. So I'm hoping that eventually Oculus sets up some kind of cool feature where if you're streaming, you could have a virtual chat panel inside your VR headset so that while you're working in VR, I could see everything that you guys are saying without this just becoming a big crazy yelling match. But what the hell? Why even bother with all this gear? Because next year is going to be huge. Now, as you guys saw in the thumbnail for this stream, last year was massive, and the year before that was even bigger. 2015 was ridiculous. That's when I sculpted most of that stuff in that thumbnail. And I realized one of the fundamental problems with doing all that styrofoam sculpture, which was awesome for my party, was that it was unshareable. I couldn't share it with almost anyone. So maybe we can run another game in the future, and that's cool. And those people will have some cool terrain, but I can't share it with any of you guys in any effective way. So now that this momentum has started to grow around Drunkards and Dragons, which still is baffling to me, I wanted to find a better way to start sharing my work. So I got a lot of awesome shit coming down the pipe, and that's what 2017 is going to be about. I want to try to get the cool stuff out to everyone rather than hoarding it for my own little group. So that means a little bit of a shift in mindset. One of the first things you're going to see, and a lot of people have been asking me about it, is the index card RPG. So I have been working on that project in semi-secret down in the Batcave for a while. And you're going to have the index card RPG in 100 card volumes out on Drive-Thru RPG. There's going to be 2 volumes to start. You can get them, and then it's just a print and play. So you'll have them in both a 3x5 and in a playing card format in the PDF you get on the Drive-Thru RPG. So that way, if you want to just use your own laser printer at home, because they're just black and white, If you want to use your laser printer at home, you can just print them out that way. Or you can use the poker card versions and use somebody like makeplayingcards.com and send them the JPEG set. And then you just drag and drop them into your poker card deck, and you can get this awesome kind of full production quality poker deck of 100 little hankering role-playing cards. And the role-playing cards are like props, they're floor tiles, they're characters, monsters, it's just tons of crap. And then it also comes with a support text which has all the numbered cards and possible explanations of how you might use them in your game. So hopefully that will be a huge, like, usable resource. You know, one cool thing about making all these videos is it's really fun for me, but then I'm just kind of like off into woo, and you guys are doing your own thing. So again, I'm trying to find a way to get you the stuff. So Index Card RPG will be, I think, super useful and really easy to get into your game. You don't have to completely go into the craft game. You don't have to change your whole paradigm. It'll just pop right into your game. So anyway, that's cool. Yeah, coffee and Baileys, man. That's the only way to go. All right. Unless you're in Portugal and it's 5 p.m., then you should be having whiskey and beers to wash it down. Okay, so anyways, that's about Index Card RPG. And then the next one, this is what we're about to get into, is that this is the mind blower. So 3D printing, it never happened, right? It was the revolution of creative production that never really took root in the world. Once 3D printing came out, remember this is like 3 years ago, everybody crapped their pants like, we're all gonna make our own stuff. Oh my God, we don't need people to make anything anymore. But it just never really happened. And the reason is that 3D modeling remained prohibitive. So even though you could 3D print stuff, you couldn't easily 3D model, or you couldn't efficiently 3D model. It's never going to be easy because it's sculpture. But you couldn't just do it in an intuitive way. You know, you had to know ZBrush or Maya or one of these things. So, whoa. But then Oculus Medium dropped about mid-year this year, and I got my hands on a beta copy thanks to my awesome team at Carbon Games. And through working with those tools, realized, oh my God, the digital sculpting revolution has finally arrived, and it's going to make 3D printing awesome, like it always should have been. But we just didn't have access to great STL files in bulk that people were creating on their own, because we don't want things that companies make. We want things that individuals make. So that's when me and Twigs started toying with the idea that maybe we could get an Oculus Medium set up here at the house so that I could start sculpting minis that I could release the STL files to you guys to print out on your 3D printers. Now, there's a word of warning on these STLs, is that I generally sculpt at very high detail, and I like to push the state of the art rather than make it kind of low poly and play to the limited capability of hobby level 3D printers right now. So I'm going to push the 3D printing capabilities with my work. And that's going to put a little bit of a burden on you guys if you're printing this stuff out. But I think within 1 or 2 years, hobby level printers are going to be at the level that the Stratasys printers are at right now. But if you have like a Form 2 or any of the gel-based printers, you're going to be ready to go. So that is the other part to wrap your head around, is that I'm going to be putting out 3D sculpted work. So it could be creatures, it could be minis, it could be terrain, I don't know. But I have Oculus here in the house now, and I've been spending just under 2 months warming up to the tools. And if you guys want to see some of my work so far on Oculus Medium, you can go to the Oculus Medium Facebook page. You can go to The Art of Brandon Gillum is my blog page, and I have some of my mech posts there. I've been working on a future project for Carbon called War Mech, which is a bunch of giant battle mecha stuff. So I've been sculpting that. But then I've just now started to get into some fantasy sculpture. And that was when I realized, whoa, I need to do this with Runehammer. I can't be doing this at work. That's a conflict of interest, as we like to say in the Trump era. So that's when I had to get the home set up so we can have Runehammer originals, and I can do it here at the house, not use up my awesome work team time. So that's about it. There's one other, well, probably 2 other big projects that are coming in 17. One is a lot of collaboration with Absolute Tabletop and James and Tim Carney the creators of Dragon Grin and the Copper Jackals. So behind the scenes, the three of us have actually formed a mind cabal, and we are going to be working together to bring you guys a bunch of awesome, both in our new podcast, Encounter Machine, and in some print projects that will be coming on Drive-Thru RPG. So those two guys are great. Absolute Tabletop is awesome. Hopefully I'll get to collaborate a little bit with Matt Click and those guys, and we're just gonna up it. We're gonna call it building, as they say in hip hop. And then finally, I think it was Thursday night, started chatting with a friend, and they have had a Dungeon World group going for about a year. And since I'm taking a little bit of a break from 5e DMing, I'm putting together a custom campaign and game hack of Dungeon World for that group, which is 5 players, which is going to be like, oh my god, 5 players in Dungeon World is going to be thrust into the fire of learning really how to get good Dungeon World DMing techniques down pat. So I'm going to be doing that too. And the whole thing is going to be a giant beta test to release this huge custom Dungeon World campaign and game hack to you guys. So don't worry about the small, I have the small thumbnail, you guys, because I'm about to fire up Medium and I'm going to start sculpting, and we're going to get into sculpting, and I'll probably just sort of stick to something I know I can do well, which we'll do like a dwarf fighter just to warm up. Because I'll tell you what, it is hard to sculpt with a live audience. It like changes the whole tone. Normally when you're sculpting, you just go into this mind space and you're just kind of flowing and you're kind of working and you're not thinking about it. But when you're sculpting for an audience, you kind of like don't want to fuck up and you can feel the pressure. It's like public golfing. Well, I guess there's no such thing as private golfing. Although it would be really cool if you had your own private golf course. Okay. So I think that's about it for the intro. Basically just wanted to be excited coming into Christmas. You know, always get about a week off at Christmas to really get into craft projects. Got a big styrofoam project I'm about to launch into, and just like, I'm fired up. I am psyched. I just got my head around Symbaroum. I just ordered a bunch of new Dungeon World books. I had a weird freak out and got like 5 Fate books just to read into all the Fate stuff. I got that crazy Umdar book, and like every once in a while you just have this moment where you're just like mind sponge happens. It might be because I was like sleeping in some bushes downtown the other night from too many tequila shots, and that just like opened my brain cells. So welcome all 79 of you guys. It's great to have you here on Saturday morning. Thanks for putting up with the tiny little black and white thumbnail. And let's do some testing. Yeah, Merry Craftmas to you, Adramir. Let's do some testing. I have never streamed this stuff at home. I've done one stream at work, and it worked pretty good. So here's my headset. And let's see if it works. So I'm going to kind of get in here and see if you guys see what I see. I should hop right into meeting. You should see the ball of freedom right there. So let me just wait a second for time lag to catch up, and let's see if ball of freedom comes up. And let me just adjust this stream. Oh man, yeah, it's good to have you guys. Hail, John Richard, nice to have you, dude. Good to have all you guys hanging out Saturday morning, man. It's gonna be a great weekend. It's almost Christmas time. Got to take care of that family. You know what I mean? Show love to your fellow man. Get that tree up. Make sure you water that tree so you don't have a Christmas torch. So I don't think we're getting the feed right now. We should be. Let me get this window capture working. Hang on a sec. You just got to bear with me for a moment. How's that? Does that work? No, you're still just seeing blackness, aren't you? So let's just reboot this sucker. There we go. Hang on. Starting. Kanukistan. Okay, so now we got a big old Oculus window up here. Is that working? You ain't seeing nothing, you guys. Why aren't you seeing nothing? It's just to show how little I know. So I'm going to try switching to display capture until I get my crap figured out. I just put OBS on this new system, and like, I'm so bad at things. Now I have no glasses on. Can I even add things like while I'm streaming? like breaking every rule of YouTubing right now. Okay, so you should be seeing my whole display now. Or at least in a second. Let me get rid of this. You guys get to watch me move windows around. How exciting is that? All right. So you should just be seeing my entire display. So I'm not going to be able to see your chat line. So, okay, just bear with me. All right. That should work. So I'm just going to go to full screen. You won't be able to see me because I'm such a noob. All right, cool. All right, I'm just going to assume you guys can hear. And I'm going to get into this. All right, now I don't think you can see me. So in time, oh wait, I'm missing a, okay. So in time, I will get the multi-window set up so you guys can see my googly eyes on my headset while I sculpt. Because you get more personal communication when you're interacting visually, you know what I mean? So, okay. So I'm just going to check one more time before I sit here and sculpt for an hour to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. So you're going to see this window pop up again. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, cool. We're working. All right. So now this is just bizarre because I'm like, I always have music going when I sculpt, but I wanted you guys to be able to listen to your own music while you're watching the stream. So I'm just going to kind of talk my way through it. And that way you guys can listen to your own jams and be your own self and live life the good way. But here we're just going to get started here and get into a sculpt. And we're going to do a nice dwarf fighter. Yeah, so the idea here is that I'm actually just right now VR sculpting a frickin' mini. So how crazy awesome is that? I mean, it's insane. And then the STLs will be available to you guys. The STLs I might do some sale packs on STLs, but you guys know me. I enjoy making things much more than I do selling things. So I tend to give things away a lot because I think just the hobby is what it's about, not like being all mongery about it. I mean, eventually my dream is to just, you know, form a full-time business with this stuff. But for now, you know, it's more just about, I just want to be part of the damn community. You know what I mean? I just want to be here. I just want to hang out with a bunch of weirdos who like to play D&D all the time. It's Saturday morning. Twigs is off taking care of her horses, so that's great. So it's just me talking to myself here in a weird void, hanging out with y'all. All right, so here's my basics. My dwarf. He's gonna, you know, I don't want him to be too like gnome-like or too old. I want him to be tough. So to be tough, we got to make sure we bring the pain down. It's real easy to accidentally make a dwarf into a gnome. So you got to flatten him out is a lot of times what'll give you a more dwarf-like look. Okay, so we'll bump the resolution a little bit here, and then we'll start smoothing him out. There we go. Get a little more human, no pun intended. There we are. I'm an old, tough-ass dwarf. I've been fishing all day, so I'm looking a little older than I should. You know, going fishing really will add years. I'll tell you, the hardest part of any 3D sculpt is the lips. It's ridiculous, especially on any kind of female character, because you really want the lips to be sort of, you know, alluring and beautiful. And I'll tell you guys, with all art, making beautiful things is 1,000 times harder than making ugly things. You can make monsters and hideous creations all day long, but to create beauty is a real challenge. Okay, hey, there we go. So we got a little bit of an old guy dwarf going. That's going to be the start. Let's smooth some of this out before we get the beard going. Just get rid of some of this unneeded Detail. Okay, cool. Great. So let's get a little more brow so he's nice and tough. Douche. You always want a nice heavy brow on a dwarf before you even get the eyebrows in there. Right? Okay, cool. Now we're going to start sort of what I call chiseling, which is where I get into more of a cube technique. So here's my cube. And I like a very chiseled kind of feel on my sculpts. Just because it's less sort of blobby, you know? It just has more to it. And then especially when you're printing at small scale, you know, the chiseling gives you a nice sensation. So you just use a more chiselly brush and then smooth it out and you get this more chiselly kind of shapes. Another way you can do it is use this guy and kind of chisel off some of these forms. So you get this angular kind of look, which is a lot how like my drawing stuff comes through as I get very chiselly with things. Mainly because of lack of ability. There we go, much better. So he still has concave mouth syndrome, so let's fill this in a little bit. It's like somebody hit him with a beer mug. Okay, and then you do some lips here, and then the lips won't matter too much because we'll get a beard in here. There we go. That's that expression I was looking for. Yeah, see, like this planarity right here is what really is going to give you the magic. So now I want to get that same planarity going, you know, on some of his other parts. You know, the dwarves are a folk hewn from stone by the gods to create a slave race in primordial age. And so their anatomy actually sort of reflects this almost faceted stone toughness. And I like that about them. You know, they look like Sam Elliott. Man's chiseled from stone, I swear to God. All right, here we go. All right, cool. So there we got some chiseling, just smooth off those cuts. There we go. All right, so there's that. Now, there's a lot of color. So actually, just for fun, I'll work in color, just so you guys can have a good time with it. Now, normally with a mini, I wouldn't work in color at all. I would be working completely in white, and I would save color for the painter at the end, right? Just like any normal mini. But let's just do this guy in color. What do you think? Well, that gets into a lot of distraction. I'm going to do white. See, this is why it's so weird to sculpt live for people. You're just like, who wants to listen to my inner monologue? Whee! Okay, everyone, listen to me be indecisive. It's going to be really fun, I guarantee you. So I'm just moving through different tools here to get the work done. Let me love you. Here we go. I won't give up, girl. Every time you're doing 3D sculpture, you got to watch out for accidental Asian influence on your facial expressions. For some reason, 3D sculpting and a sort of an Asian look to the face, they just go together. It just happens accidentally quite a bit. So it's, you always got to watch out. Make sure you don't get Yul Brynner every time you sculpt. Also, dwarves have bigger noses than this. This is ridiculous. What am I thinking? And they have like beefy nostrils and stuff. Dude, beefy nostrils, bruh. I bet you can inhale like crazy, man. There you go, and then kind of pull the detail off of it. There you go, now chisel it back out. So this is just some of how I do what I do. But what's crazy is that you guys aren't just watching me do some kind of digital art shenanigans. Like, this is going to wind up on a tabletop. That's what's so crazy. Oops, how did that happen? What the hell is that? I've got a blocky face and a weird chin. Doesn't matter. Yikes, you always get Hassenpfeffer when you start trying to do lips. There we go. Okay. Cool. Ready to go. Okay, so I like how it's looking, so I'm ready to save. What should we name this guy? This is like, this is Kjarn. The brother of Fjarn. Alright, there we have saved my first sculpt at the new Runehammer sculpting facility. So now I'm going to go into the beard, which is way more fun than all this detail. So here's how I do beard usually. I'll use a cube. I'll start symmetrical, get the basics in, then I'll get started into tapering and get some sort of more, you know, like locks going. But you know, no good dwarf leaves his house without his beard. Right? And they always have burly stashes. And you got that cool little chin piece that dwarves always have, and you know, well, the bottom lip, you know, they got that little thing. There we go. There's your basic shape. And there, I think we'll do like a clasped braided beard on this guy. And, you know, poor dwarves, I almost always portray them like balding. Just like young dwarves like in Lord of the Rings. I don't know, it just doesn't match my imagination of them. Poor guys are always balding. Okay, and then you got dwarven eyebrows, right? And again, I'm just working in symmetry right now, but nature abhors symmetry. So at some point, you have to sort of abandon the comfort of symmetry, and you got to just start embracing the chaos of asymmetry. Okay, cool. There, we're looking good. Save that. Pretty cool, huh? So I've got something that's going to be appealing. It's going to work. So, boo, throw them way down there. So from a distance, you get to start to get the read on what the mini is going to feel like, right? You can also, you know, shrink him way down and get this feeling like, ooh, that's going to make a sick little mini. Okay, but you always want to work nice and big. All right, cool. So we're looking really good now. You know, there's always that initial moment with all art where you're just like, do I have any idea what I'm doing? Because this looks horrible. It's really common. I don't know if people think that artists know what they're doing, but if other artists are anything like me, they spend about 90% of their time going, what the hell am I doing? What have I gotten myself into? I'm streaming this stuff and I don't even know if this is going to turn out good. So now I'm just doing detailing. And this is the kind of stuff, remember how big this would be on a printed like 28 mil figure. You know, this is an insane level of detail that normally you'd be doing with like teeny little chisels. But the way 3D printers are going, it is going to happen. I'm a believer. Get this ear cavity figured out real quick. There we go. Okay. Oh, I got no symmetry. That's okay. Nature abhors symmetry. So this is what Goro Fujita said. With this tool, it's faster to just do more work rather than use a bunch of layers and use a bunch of undoing and go back and forth and stuff. Just keep moving. Just keep it organic. All right. This is a lot like the Bob Ross of D&D, you guys, which I have been called before. This is just talking you through my artistic process, which is very Bob Rossy. Bob Rossi! He's got his dwarven battle comb over here, which I was going to do a helmet, but I kind of like his look without a helmet. It's kind of cool. So we'll just keep going. We'll put all the work into the armor rather than a big old helmet. How about that? Okay, cool. And then he has some sort of untamed noodles here. And then we haven't done any tapering yet either, so we'll do just a couple of tapers. And I don't mean the creatures from Central Africa. I mean dwindling thickness in line art. There we go, a couple tapers. And I always do like there's a little bit of a breeze on my characters. You know, a little bit of wind. See, so now this guy doesn't feel right, so I'll taper him down just the manual way. There we go. There we go, cool. So, you know, you guys should be kicking it, get out your DM's journal and, you know, work on tonight's session or whatever. There's one thing I learned about streaming is like I don't have to be all freaking Hollywood and present something to you guys. You know, we're at this point I would consider us homies. So I just realized sometimes it's nice to just have a stream going, and maybe people are paying attention, maybe they're not, and kind of it's all good in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Okay, so right now, if you're wondering what kind of crazy this is, I'm just I'm doing beard clasps for him. You know, just like scrunchies. Which dwarves are really manly, right? But then they always have like a pocket full of scrunchies. Got a pocket full of scrunchies, hand on the pump. All right. So you see there, he's got like these three beard clasps, and then out of the clasps, he's got his braids. So let's see if I've never done braids in a sculpt before, but I'd imagine they work a lot like a normal braid, like that. And then these will be cascading sort of down his armor. And then there's another clasp, and then sort of a point, right? That's kind of how it works. Yeah, cool. That's going to be awesome. Gonna be awesome. Screw that. It's awesome right now. Woo! All right. Do a little taper here so it gets nice and thin on the end. There we go. Clean up this line. It's a little too bulky. Clean up some of those. There we go. Cool. So there's my first beard braid. So now I'll do another beard braid here. And these are kind of bigger. Also, I never do the heads of my character sculpts really, you know, square onto their bodies. They always kind of do this. So I think his beard is actually cascading a little bit to the left. So we're going to do like this. Here's the braid. And this one's kind of tumbling onto its neighbor. And then it's up there like that. So you guys have seen my ink work, and this is like, these are all standards of how I do my ink work. You know, when you're a noob, you really got to stick to your techniques to make sure you do a good job. Okay, cool. So there I was just backfilling so you don't get too many floating shapes. Okay, let's do some tapering. A little cleanup. Right, and just, you know, if this feels kind of chunky and sloppy, just remember how small this is going to be. It's crazy. All right. Then final braid, and then remember his head is kind of looking up here, so this one's splaying off to this side. Maybe it's like going to rest on a sort of a belt or a piece of armor, so we'll kind of skew it up. Ties, and then the tip. Yeah, like that. Oh, it's too long. He's like, I have a lot of hair on one side of my head. There we go. There's the tie. There we go. And the tip. Backfill it so it has this nice mass. A little bit of mass under here to get the shadows right. Feeling good. Get this wrap reinforced. Taper off this point. Get rid of some of these cinder blocky shapes here. I'm a big fan of cinder blocks, but not when it comes to beards. Okay, cool. So it's still a little longer, but I think we could correct that by making this one a little bulkier. So here, kind of breaking the rules a little bit. He's got a few stray locks, if you will, and you will. Oh yes, you will. Yeah, sure, whatever. And you know, when you do your STL prep, your printer software will clean up some of these unprintable shapes. Okay, so cool. Now when his face is looking up there, this will be falling on his armor in a way that I hope works out. But I'm working completely blind right now, so you guys get full insight on my complete lack of knowing what I'm doing. All right, we're going to go back to symmetry. We're going to get some neck buildup going here. Like so. And this should give me a good adjustable head. So what I'm going to do is keep this head on its own layer. And that way, when we start building, I can build the body and then skew the head to a more organic angle, because, you know, a perfectly centered, perfectly forward-facing head can be a very strange, sort of inhuman feel to things. All right, so now we have the sphenomastoid tendon, which is this guy. You guys are familiar with that because you're all human. I hope you're human. Actually, if you're not, you're welcome. We're not speciest here. Okay, so just giving him some more neck bulk, and you have to have the sphenomastoid tendon. It's actually one of the biggest tendon muscle complexes in the human body because it holds your head up 24/7. And the mastoid process, this bone right here, is actually the thickest bone in the human body. Learning things is fun. The more you know. All right, so let's finish out the hair. All right, he's got normal back hairs. I'll give him a small pony as well, a warrior's knot, if you will. Well, he's got the papoose head, and I'm fine with that because he's a dwarf. As a baby, they just laid him on a flat stone, and then we'll put a pony right here, just a little one. This kind of a deal, right? Just like a soccer mom at Starbucks. He's just got a nice little ponytail. I want my pumpkin spice beer. Okay. So there you go, guys. That is the head of Kjarn, the brother of Fjarn, which I don't know if you guys have seen Fjarn. I posted him. Yeah, I did post him. He was that first dwarf post that I put up, that sculpt. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of wrinkling because dwarves, even when they're young, are old. So what I do is with my symmetry tool off, I just add some of this stuff, right? And this is what's so hard on females because it's just isn't that pretty. But on a male character, it always works really good. Just little disruptions to the skin. Okay, just like that. Maybe some of these little guys, you know, he's had his nose broken like 14 times because he's a dwarf. Okay, then you just smooth them off just a bit and you get like some little implication of scarring or wrinkling. And it's good. There we go. Push these down just a bit. Be careful with your trigger on that one. There we go. There we go. So see, just gives you a little bit of that humanity. You always got to watch out sculpting people because things get very inhuman. Okay, there's some non-symmetrical detail. Now I'm lacking a bottom eyelid a little bit. Now you're thinking, Hankerin, aren't you going a little crazy here with all this? Does all this little detail really matter? Yes. Yes, it does. When the 3D printers are so awesome that they can capture all this, it's going to matter. Now, usually for an eye, I will use this guy here. It's sort of a coin shape. Because remember, I'm not going to be able to, I'm not doing color. I have to rely on the hobbyist to do paint. So if you do a cavity as a pupil, the dark paint will go into the cavity. And then the painter, the hobby painter at the end, he can paint the remaining higher up surfaces sort of white, and you'll get that look. That look of like an expression. And you know, this is one thing that Michelangelo was just amazing at doing, is using shadow in stone to create this real sense of a human look in the eye, which is just an amazing accomplishment when you're working in something like stone. But see how that just creates a natural shadow. So you'd think, wow, that's counterintuitive to just punch a hole in his eyeball, but that's how you get this natural kind of look. And that's looking pretty cool, right? Fjarn. Oh wait, no, this is Kjarn, the brother of Fjarn. So one thing I noticed right away before I move on to the body is that he has too human a neck. So see how I can't see his traps coming out here? That's not dwarven enough for me. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to add these sort of traps, or at least the beginning of the traps. Trapezius. So that he has this correct dwarven neck mask. You know, they have a stout neck so that when they So when they fall off a frost giant's shoulders and land on their heads, they don't break their neck. Very important. Very important when you're a dwarf. Okay. So this will at least get the silhouette to read right. So from the front. And then I'm just going to put a ball underneath. So that later, when we're posing the head, we'll kind of get this big posable ball like this. And then just kind of clean it up. And again, don't always have to use symmetry. It's a really neat tool, but you don't have to make everything perfect in this world. There we go, cool. So see, now I have that neck silhouette. Sorry, I think I got some coffee in my throat unit. There we go. Groovy. He's awesome. Okay, cool. So I don't know if you guys are still with me. I hope you are. If you, excuse me, if you had to move on with life, it was nice having you, but you're not here anymore, so who am I talking to? Okay, great. So we're going to move on now to the body, which is a lot faster and easier than doing that. You know, the expression of a living person is probably the single hardest thing you can do in any art form. So you guys can probably see where I'm headed. Not only can I use this to print out like a 28 mil mini eventually, which will be awesome, but this kind of art right here with doing a little bit of render treatment and a little bit of Photoshop is also what I'm going to use in my print products that are going to be coming out next year. So this is going to be turned into print art in like modules and in resources and stuff. It's going to be awesome. I just think it's a revolution. I still love drawn art, don't get me wrong. I love inked art. There's no replacement for it. It's the most human kind of art. But this is just going to give me a whole new capability to create a more fully realized world of characters and objects. So I'm just, as you can see, I am stoked. I can't believe I have this in my own house, by the way. Like, thank you, Twigs. Okay, so we're going to move on. So I'm going to add a layer. This second layer, that's just an anchor for my layer. This second layer is going to be the bate. So with the bate, I'm going to use my cube brush. And I'm just going to get into some nice volumes. Add some resolution on it. Okay, and you'll see what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to think in volumes. And why am I using the cube brush? Well, because baller. There you go. The cube brush really helps me get a sense of planarity and volume and where the chiseling is going to wind up that I think is very handy. And it just gives you this really clear, indubitable sense of space. And then you'll see what I do to clean up all this crap, because this is obviously a mess. This is a lot like working in stone, where you start with a really unruly shape. Yeah, the only difference is it's VR and it's about 100 trillion times easier than working in stone. I can't even imagine working in stone. All right, so we're gonna get some of his armor shapes started. So you guys can see how I can just work in volume like this, and it's just very intuitive. So hard to do this kind of stuff in other environments. Okay, so same tool set. Now we're just going to pull out a bunch of the ridging and a bunch of the unnecessary hoop-de-doo. And this is just a first, just a starting. There we go. Cool, 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 cool. Okay, so now I want to do cuts. So it's like I just grab this giant cutting tool like this. This is like the kind of thing that would take you months in stone. To remove volume, to start to search for form. I just can't even imagine the skill of the classic sculptors like Michelangelo to not only see the forms at the level of beauty and skill that they did, but then to execute them. Oops, did I put that whole thing on my first layer like a doof? I did. Great. Let's see how far we can undo back. Actually, I'm going to load. So this is one thing I know they're working on at Oculus. is that every once in a while when you make a new layer and undo, you will undo the moving to the new layer. So that was a good body. I liked it. And I could have cut it off and created, could have, you know, sort of made sure. See how it just did it? Yeah. It just did it. Yep. So they've got a couple of accidental moments where you can undo by looking at the layer palette. And see, it just did it again. So you need to get like some anchor strokes down so that if you do an undo, it won't pull you off the layer. Okay, so back to building mass. Momentary lapse of reason there, okay? Back to building mass. Actually, I'm going to do a better job. You know, this is one of the mottos of digital art world, is that you always do things better the second time. So don't get too cranky when you make a goof. Yeah, see, now I have that shape that I wanted. Yeah. Cool. Much better than the first shape. Just a lot more character to that shape. Plus, you don't want to make every dwarf like just some pot-bellied plate wearer. As you guys know, sometimes you want to roll a different kind of a dwarf. Like the dwarf I'm playing in 5e right now is a ranger. And he's a sort of a Yukon trapper character. And he's not all about, like, battle axing and stuff. Cool, man. All right, so let's do some of our start out smoothing, just like we did just a moment ago. Just kind of get rid of brushwork. There we go. See, and the joy is, since my head is on a separate layer, I can just work freely and I won't screw up my head. Man, you're screwing up my head, dude. You're blowing my mind right now. All right. Boop. So now we're doing those big cuts that I was waxing profound about moments ago. This is just a huge, smooth way to eliminate volume. And in so doing, create nice planarity, search for the essence of your form that you're creating, and just clean up. So I'm just searching for this. I think he's going to be wearing sort of like a splint or ring mail. So I'm just sort of searching for how that's going to work and how that's going to feel. So these are just over-exaggerated cuts. And I'll clean up these cuts as I work. But let me love you, Kjarn, 'cause I love your brother, Fjarn. All right, so we need a little more mass so that this beard makes sense, right? Its beard rests on armor, just like so. So it's just going to get a little hairy here. Oh, see what I did there? Like all dwarven funerals, this one might get a little hairy. There we go. Now we're starting to see some innovative armor. It's very easy to accidentally do like cheeseball Warcraft armor every time. Like, giant shoulders with wolf heads on them. Okay, it was cool the first 28 times. So I'm just bordering his pauldrons. His spalders, if you will. And then bordering his cuirass, or hauberk, depending on where you're from. You might call that some different things. Great. Great. Everything's great. Okay, we got our layers all sorted out. No more goofing around. Hey, come on back here, would you, Kjarn? Okay, this is eventually going to be sort of an arm cavity. And the reason you want a cavity, this will be mostly filled in with his arm, but you have a chance that during sculpture you'll get this nice little gap. And the gap being the gap between clothing and limbs is sometimes a good thing to accent because it can give you more believability. Let me love you, because I love Fjarn. And I want to love Kjarn. It's no easy thing loving a dwarf. It takes a lot of patience. So you can see those seams start to clean up and be a little more sensible. We've got all this cube mess here. Cool. So there is a lot more to do in VR just besides sculpting characters and monsters and swords, stuff like that. Even though that's a very cool thing to do, there's a lot more to do. We're going to be doing, and brace yourselves, we're going to be doing room designs in VR. And it may sound a little crazy, but it's amazing because I can do not only the architecture right before your eyes in real time, but then using like emissive colors, which are, you know, like glowing colors, and these intuitive drawing tools, I can actually draw the mechanics right in real time in front of you guys to see how the mechanics go. We'll have like glowing notes on top of the architecture and on top of the board. So this is a fun stream you guys can look forward to that I hope is truly unique in all the world of tabletop, is that we are going to make VR sculpting a tabletop tool. Damn it. And it's going to be freaking dope. I really can't emphasize enough how I believe that this is a revolution in how tabletop is going to be created. But for the sake of Drunkards and Dragons, I think that we're going to stick to all the things that have made this channel work so great, right? Which is room designs, usable encounter designs, usable mechanics that make your table actually more fun, not just abstractions or derivations or generalities, right? And VR is going to give us just even more of that. So here I just did a bunch of armor deco, right? So he's got this deep relief cuts in his armor. I want this to be smoother in here. I don't know why. So these deep relief cuts, you know, are etched with like a very large tool. And just on a mini, they're going to give you a lot of fun form to catch paint. Because remember, that's still what we're doing. We're not just making cool 3D art for, like, you know, an Xbox game or something. We're still thinking in tabletop. Because tabletop is where cool people are hanging out. You know, there's cool people hanging out in a lot of disciplines and styles and activities and hobbies. But I'm a little partial to the tabletop peeps. Something OG about them. I suppose everybody's partial to their own shit, right? Okay, cool. There's the armor, at least at its basic. I think I'm done with the head. He just looks a little too perfect. So let's go back to the head layer and let's give him a couple scars. Scars are definitely asymmetrical. You know, every good dwarf has a scar like right down his cheek, right? Like where the stitches went bad on him. And then every good dwarf has this stinking forehead scar. I've seen it so many times. And it's like sort of shaped like this. It's like where he was riding a beholder. Fell off. So make sure you smooth out those tips or you're going to get like an artery. There we go. Nice. There's a scar. Okay, then this one, boop, just barely needs a touch. There we go. Much better. Okay, cool. Whew. Pretty cool, huh? All right, I'm going to take a quick break, come out of the headset, and we can still kick it because I just need some more coffee. All right, there we go. Let's see if the stream is still working. Let me love you. just scoot that off to the side. You guys just get to see me work on the stream. That's too funny. Hey, there I am. I got, remember the brand new Oculus? When you get it brand new, it's like, you really got to get the fit just right to your face because you don't want any pressure on your face. You want to just barely rest on the top of your head. And once you get those settings all set up just so, man, it is so great. It's just weightless on top of your head. This is something I do not like about the Vive, but I'm pro all VR, so I don't want to talk any poop, but the Vive headset I don't like quite as much. And the PlayStation headset is just kind of crazy. It's like you're in the future or something. So, hey, okay, it's really weird to me. Do I? Oh, it does. Look, it's over there. Okay. Cool. There we go. So it's really weird to me to be talking to you guys and not be able to see your stream and not be able to see and make sure that my camera feed is good and stuff. It's really strange, but I'm going to get used to it as we go forward and we do more VR streaming. Warcraft, yeah. I'm sure you guys have had like a million comments. Do it for the yeah, okay, cool. So I'm not even going to scroll up because it just goes on forever. Yeah, so scuba diving, that's what happens when you have a brand new Oculus. I mean, that was literally the first time I've sat down with this Oculus. It's brand new. So my one at work, I'm in hours and hours and hours, and friends don't let friends share their Oculus headset because it becomes your face. Like, there's a lot of DNA on there. Hey, Derek Scheiborg, welcome, man. Good to have you. 126 people. This is actually the biggest stream I've ever had. And it's Saturday morning with a brand new, like, random setup that I barely got working. So that is actually amazing. ZK, yeah, VR room design is going to be so great. You'll get a full 3D room that we can build right in real time and then do the HUD right on top of it. By HUD, I mean, you know, readouts, data, notes, arrows, mechanics, all written, and we can zoom in and out of it, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to give me what I never could do for you guys, which is to live create in a timely fashion. And I've seen some of the live dungeon creation videos, and they move a little slow for my attention span, which is, you know, drawing on a grid. And it's cool that creators out there have the guts to do it live, because it's tough to create live. But I think in VR, we're going to have something brand new. It's just going to, as you guys can see, it's just going to pop. And it's far easier than a character. I mean, the character is the hardest thing. So to just do a flat board and then start popping rocks up and then throw down a spider and say, like, okay, you're going to have 1d4 rounds before he comes around the rock. We're going to be able to do that in a much more visual way that's going to be awesome. Yeah, Gordy Grooves, good to have you. Coffee, yeah, lukewarm coffee right here. Snowed in. Oh, that's great. I love being snowed in. So Sculptoons. But I'll tell you, this got so crazy for me Thursday night. This is when basically my brain broke. Thursday night, I just had I don't know what happened. I don't know how to describe it, but it all started coming slamming back, which was like, there's so many cool things to do. And I don't know if you guys can see, maybe I can pan around, but I'm just like in the middle of a giant pile of books and terrain, and like there's a bunch of insanity over there, like all my rolling boxes all over. I just got back from playing last Saturday morning, and like it's chaos in here, which maybe the background reveals, but it's just that great feeling where you're renewed into the hobby, not because I'm supposed to have a YouTube channel or because I'm making products or whatever. It's just, I like doing this crap. So I just do it. I got dogs sleeping here on the floor, you know, everything's complete. It's called having an epiphany, Adramir says. Well, sometimes an epiphany to me is like figuring out a big puzzle or getting a big idea. But this is different. This is a renewal. It's when your enthusiasm is the linchpin. And I know you guys go through this, which is like, you're blocked from being psyched, not from having good ideas and being able to figure out puzzles. It's just the raw, like, 6-year-old in you just wants all the TMNT toys. You don't know why. There's no point. You're barely even going to play with the damn things. You just want to have them. And because, fuck yeah, TMNT. It's just one of those moments. And I love those moments. That renews everything. So I'm just taking a brief break, and I'll go back in. We'll keep working on Kjarn. And if you guys need to move on with your lives today, I totally understand. But I'm just going to stream maybe for another hour or so. Olivier Charpentier. Great name, dude. Fantastic old world name. And glad to hear it. You know, one of these days I swear I was going to do a mailbag type show where I was going to go ahead and read some of the private messages to you guys that I get. I just haven't figured out how to organize that show. But the number of stories of inspiration that I hear are so fantastic. They fuel me a ton. Which is, you know, people that used to be into the hobby that are back, or people that were, you know, not sure how to be a DM and that are now getting into it and all that great stuff. Man, I love to hear that stuff. When's the next D&D video, Hank? What do you mean by that, Zigmus? They're all D&D videos. Felipe, how do you do trees? I just buy moss and glue them to sticks. So if you look at my Stop Procrastinating and Start Crafting Woodlands video, you can see how I make trees. I'm more about finding excitement and drive, trying to figure things. Yeah, same here, man. It's all about excitement and drive. Figuring things out is fine. You know, it's kind of that moment of picking up your journal rather than what you write in it. It's the picking it up that is like that's the awesome moment, or the hardest moment maybe. I need a haircut. I look like I'm about 78 years old. Okay, let's get back into sculpting, and I'm not even sure how I fix my windows. I wish I had done a better job with the whole window plan. Here, let's see if I can. Boop. Okay, I'm up there, and then how do I place this thing? Like, does it work? What's happening? Oh, there it is. Hey, look. Okay, I think I might be figuring things out. Let's we'll set up the. You guys just get to. You're really seeing behind the scenes now. I tell you what. Okay. I'm trying to get it so that I get a little bit of so you guys can see my existence. But then you can see, and you know, there's ways to do some fancy crops and other things on here, and I'm just not doing them. All right, so let's get rid of the OBS. Now you should be back to seeing me and the sculpt. And I'm going to go back into step into the rift again. Which, you know, once you've really gotten into this, there is no going back. It is spectacular. Let's see if I can get a little bit of the weight off my scuba cheeks. There we go. That's a little better, honestly. Hang on. That is worth adjusting. Whoop. There we go. Really letting you guys see behind the scenes. Like I said, I'm just not all about being all Hollywood all the time. And yeah, I saw a comment that these are narrow shoulders for a dwarf, right? And that's what I'm really liking about the piece. Is that we're always seeing these high-shouldered, hunchy dwarves. And, you know, one thing I love about Mike Mignola's art is that he brought these real slumpy shoulders to Hellboy. And I love those slumpy shoulders that he does. You know, he does these real angled, slumpy shoulders and still gets a bulky feel. Okay, so to that point, see that glow there? So now we have our head, and I'm just going to bring it down just a bit so it gets a little more athletic. And then I'm going to do what I mentioned earlier, which is I'm going to... See that? So now he gets a lot more human all of a sudden. Well, human, no pun intended, once again. So then we want to get the beard near the armor like that. About like that. See what I mean? It's that classic kind of, tell me your name, horseman, and I'll tell you mine. I've got a bruggy in my druggy. Yeah, see now, oh man, there he's just like Arnold back there, just like boom. Or like that little guy that hangs out with Arnold, Palumbo. No, not Palumbo. It's Guy. What's his name? Oh, I love that. Tony Falundo or whatever. I don't know. He's just a guy that hung out with Arnold a lot, and his physique was awesome. And Arnold, in Pumping Iron, he jokes at him. He's calling him the Bat because his lats are so big. I love that look in a big burly physique. This kind of slumpy shoulder, chest back, but then boom, that's where the mass is. So we got a little bit of weird narrow neck going. So we'll go back to my head. And I hope you guys are having a good Saturday morning. It's nice to be here with you. There we go. That puts the beard on the armor, keeps the expression, and I don't get quite such a weird thing, but I do need to finish this neck out, because this isn't going to work. Get rid of, I don't need that. There you go. And you know, if you guys saw my my cloud ray sculpt, really employed a lot of the same techniques. That whole thing was just a wire armature, and I just made a ton of clay noodles for muscles, and then you know, basically just rolled the muscles onto the wire armature. So there I'm just accenting the sphenomastoid tendon, so you get that look. Oh yeah, digging it. Kjarn, I will learn to love you. So I think Kjarn is like an archer. He's not your standard dwarven plate metalhead. I've got a bow. I've got a stinking bow. The gods have been cruel to me, so all I've got is a stinking bow. Here we go. So it's going to be fun. We're going to do the bow and arrows. Although, is there an option to bow and arrow for a sort of a more ranged? I guess there's like javelin, there's crossbow. This is just the front and rear tacit armor. And you know, with dwarves, I don't do a lot of fanciness in my leg sculpt, or my leg pose, I should say, because, you know, dwarves just don't, I've never imagined them being flexible. So they always have really simple leg poses. They don't, like, you know, bring their knees up to their chest, or, you know, go into really wide, you know, like kung fu horse stances. More of a karate thing, I guess. Kind of always just bricks when it comes to their legs. So I don't put a ton of attention into leg posing for dwarves. It's not like doing mecha, you know, like I think a cool mecha, you really got to have good leg posing, because mechs have such awesome legs. Okay, there's the tacit armor, and that should give me enough room for legs. I'm going to clean out a little bit of this inside. You don't want armor to be so thick that it's not believable. You know, like it looks like it's made out of styrene or something because it's so damn thick. So I'm just going to thin it out like that. Give a little more room for my leg pose. There we go, thin this out. But see, like, this is another thing that you guys will see when we do some corridor sculpts, which is something that if you look on my my posts on Oculus Medium and on AirMac that I've been experimenting with, is actually sculpting a corridor from inside the corridor. This is something you could not do in the world of 3D modeling until this program emerged, which is you could actually sculpt architecture from inside the architecture. So when it comes to D&D, we are really going to cash in on that capability. We're going to sculpt our dungeon architecture from inside itself, which is just insane. I try to imagine what Frank Lloyd Wright would do with that capability if he were alive today. Cool shit. That's my guess. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the deco, just so I can kind of call it good and move on. You know, doing really simple, kind of corny, pseudo-Celtic deco, but with really extreme relief, so that when this is at scale, you'll get these really clear, deep etchings for your painter to play with. You know, kind of like Wonder Woman armor, where she has that kind of high relief. It's almost like a Mjolnir shape here. There you go. And then you got your primary belt ring here. So, you know, like all this sort of chunky little extra detail in using the cube brush, it may seem like slop, but I actually really like it because it just adds a lot of little stuff that once you get into dry brushing as your hobbyist, it's really going to matter. Okay, I'm going to clean this piece of deco off like so, and I'm going to add a belt that is, where does it come out? It comes out right here, right? Yeah, because the hole is there, and then the belt actually goes like that. There we go. Cool. So I didn't even need to clean that piece, but whatever, I did. And I'm not looking back, baby, so I'll just clean this one off. Cool. Maybe there's a little bit of a corner taper there. There's nothing more difficult to don than a square tip belt. There we go. Now that hole will not work for the final print. A little bit of a gap there needs to be filled in. Same with this. You don't want some too deep of crazy gaps. All right. Cool. We're killing it. I lost a little piece of deco there because I did too many undos, and that's fine. Because Goro Fujita, I believe in his philosophy, which is just easier to just do something again than worry about controlling your errors. There you go. Cool. Number 5 is alive. Okay. I've got little patience for the crap you're seeing. Yeah, awesome. He's got these really low slung shoulders. I think it's like his hands might be behind his back is why, or you know, like that Conan pose where he distends his shoulders back and downward. Kind of sticks out the lower part of the sternum and arches the back. He's got that tone going. So this piece of tacit armor right here might not work because we're going to kind of tilt him like this. So that would give him no room for the butt. So we can't have that. So I'm going to get rid of this tacit. And then I'll be able to pose him, and then I'll do my new tacit. So he can sit on his haunches like that. That's cool. Feeling that. Feeling it. Yo, I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? All right. Woo! We're trucking. Will Smith says, rock on. Welcome to Middle Earth. Okay. What should I do next here? I've got legs and arms to think about. I've got weaponry to think about. I never even decided what kind of weaponry we're looking at here. Should we do shield? Shield and spear? Should we do ranged? I don't know. He's also, I think he's slightly at that angle. So it's like his head is the level part, and he's uneven because he's standing on some rocks. What is in his hands? I'm just trying to see it. Maybe double hammers? That's why his shoulders are so low. He's got like double Mjolnirs. I'm not into crossbow. Crossbow doesn't feel right to me. I think maybe hammer and empty fist. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, it's decided then. Let it begin. There you go, I'm done. Okay. Done. Ship it. All right. So the deltoid is actually like right here. So I go right into the bicep and the tricep right there. And then the arm is right there. I've got some burly ass forearms. I recommend you don't arm wrestle me, boy. I'll break your bloody hand off. Dear Lord, you don't have hands. Then we drink to you. All right. There we go. Again, I don't want to over smooth because I don't want to create like a too perfect a creature, but I don't want weird blobby flood stuff either. By flood, I mean in the Halo sense of the term. They had all those weird little knots and blobs all over them. Damn flood. What a pain in my ass. All right, here. This is the coolest part of the game series in my mind. It's like, what was it, Halo 3? Halo 2? Toward the end, you'd like running through all that flood. Like tons of them. Let me love you. Let me love you. Okay, so we got to get these elbow tendons. Really strong tendons that go from the bicep to the forearm, to the ulna. Yes, I know weird stuff about human anatomy because I have an anthropology degree, so I did a whole thing. There we go. Got a little big on the... There we go. Keep those tendons. Always get the root points of tendons. Do not have bumps. They should be smooth. Cool. So there you go. There's how you do a muscly dwarf arm. And then we're going to keep it kind of bare, and then we'll get into the glove, like right here. So for the glove, and I'm a little bit in a danger zone because I am modeling into my body. So if later I want to do a bunch of stuff, I'm going to have to sneak around in here. But honestly, I just have very little patience for lots of layers. It does not feel intuitive to me. Not because of the software, but just because of the way I am, the way that God made me. He made me a simple creature. A drunken creature. But you know, the good Lord didn't give us fermentation for nothing. He meant us to be happy. And by golly, that's what we're going to be. All right. So I always love to do these real blocky. If you guys know Dan Figueroa, he is a Transformers G1 artist, kind of probably the guy who really resurrected and defined Transformers G1. He always had the great hand guards, which are sort of almost samurai in nature, but they just really give you this cool, tough, blocky look, and I always like to do those on things. You know, probably something you wouldn't notice much in an ink piece, but with this amount of, you know, volumetric legitimacy, what the fuck does that mean? You can really see it. Fernale displays a level of volumetric legitimacy in his work that can present a sense of believability to the viewer. But his lack of wit and intelligence undoes any hope he has of greater achievement in life. Okay, so here we have the handguard with the glove, and we're looking good. I'm going to save the hand for just in a little bit here. Make sure that my length feels good. He's kind of got these real low shoulders. I like that part. Damn. Dude is corded. Straight up yoked, you know what I mean? So yeah, a dwarf's fist reaches about to his knee, right? I think that's kind of the deal because their legs are so stinking short. So let's start to get some leg mass put in here. And legs, I'm going to do symmetrical because I'm less fascinated by them. You know, they're just sort of less exciting to me. Because like I said, you know, dwarves have such stumpy legs. It's just not really where a lot of their personality happens. Okay, let's get that butt. Now here's an important part, an important moment to know how he's standing, right? Because I want to remember what vertical is. I'm in virtual space, so I have no sense of what up is. So I want vertical to be away from his front so that he winds up in that Conan, you know, badass stance, right? And this is one of the harder things. It's really to find, yeah, see, there you go. To find that vertical point. Like, is that right? And another way to do it is shrink your whole thing. Because remember, I'm in virtual space, so there's no such thing as size. I'm free.
And I think actually I haven't leaned his legs back enough. He wouldn't be able to stand. So I just want to get a line. I don't even want to truly sculpt it. And I think the thighs are actually where I started to go wrong. See, I followed the line of those thigh tassets. And what I needed to do was go back here like this. And there's that butt. Why is it with the butt you always have to say that butt? It's ridiculous. All right, so here's the front. These are just sort of where his pants and so forth are going to be. Poor dwarf, he has to wear pants. Okay, then you can push it back even further. Like that, and then calf, so the calf mass. Glutes and quads and whatnot, hamstrings. So you see what I mean? Like those legs cannot go forward. They needed to go back to give him this booyah kind of pose. Like there, you get a good sense of like, oh yeah. And then we'll maybe bring the head forward just a little bit more, but he's like leaning back onto it. Yeah, see there you get the feel. Okay, cool. All right, I'm good. So as you guys can see, I do not know what I'm doing. I just stumble my way through things. And you guys know how I believe in creativity, being yourself and all that stuff. It's just like there is no right way to do things. Nobody's good at anything. Everybody's winging it. So just enjoy being your own self. Just have fun with it. This ain't a job. Okay, so really this butt isn't really going to be here too much. It's mainly just there to be hidden by the tassets. So let's pull out some of this paint detail with ye old smooth tool. Turn it up a little bit. There we go. This thing's cool because it's distance sensitive, so the more you pull out, you get a bigger, stronger smooth. The more you go in, you get these nice little detailed ones. I love these features. This is a fully featured program. All right, smooth out that booty. Get these knee wrinkles looking right. We'll revisit those and do a better job at them soon. Holy crap. The dogs are going crazy in the background. You guys hear that? Hey, Cooper, chill out, will you? Alright. So we'll do some, like, he's got a second layer to his tacet armor. Yeah, you're a tough guy. Maybe it's the Christmas packages are starting to arrive. Okay, so let's thin it out a little bit. So now here's where it's, of dubious practice to build all this just in one layer. It's like I'm going to get some conflict between pants and tassets and so on and so forth. And you know what? It's okay. If I was like, Mr. Uber Sculptor dude, that would probably be faux pas, but I'm not. Just some guy lives in the country. Here we go. Having trouble. Come on. I need a smoother line than that, crying out loud. There we go. Now actually, Oculus Medium here has some super funny sound effects. Like little spray noises and little chiselly noises and stuff. They're really hilarious, but I find them very distracting. They're like, just like, this is ridiculous. But full marks on them for adding the kind of the humor of the spraying sounds and stuff. Okay, yeah, as usual, I love the features of this program. All right. Thinning out tacet armor. Remember earlier, you don't want armor so thick that it's kind of like, how the hell is he even wearing that? What am I looking at? Oh, see, look, I made a goof. I cut out part of his arm. I wonder when I did that. I haven't saved in a year either. Well, I'll rebuild it. Let me just, there we go. Don't sweat it. No big deal, right? The Fujita is strong in this one. Goro Fujita, by the way, I keep mentioning him, is one of the sort of pioneering artists at Oculus who helped to not only to develop these tools, but also to push these tools. And so, you know, got to show him a lot of love. And thanks to my friend Speakman also for knowing about and turning me on to Goro's work long before I knew anything about it. So I can't take credit for knowing about that stuff. I was like, man, it's all right. And then once I realized the tool set involved and like what I was really looking at, oh boy, I had to eat those words. I just wasn't really excited about 3D printing until this came along. For reasons I have talked about in great length. Okay, cool. So now we're getting tons of detail. Almost too much. You know, there's not really a lot of relief of detail. So to that end, I'm going to get some relief back here. Just shave this down and clean this up. Yeah, there we go. And smooth it out. So you just get occasional spots where you get some relief from all this etching and everything. Like these pants, I got to leave them real plain. So to that end, make sure that this is all real smooth. And life goes on. Oh, bloody, oh, blada. Life goes on, brother. Oh, baby, life goes on. Okay. Okay, we got arm repair on our hands. Let's do that. Oh, bloody, oh, blada. Life goes on, brother, baby, life goes on. Oops, stayed in symmetry. He's got a blob familiar. Somebody do something. Okay, I'll erase the blob. How about that? All right, done. All right. Get this glove restored. See, I think it's just like way easier for me to just accept that I screwed up and just sort of make another arm than to like get into a bunch of undos and cuts and layers and like, oh, let me just... I really... Lessons for life. Lessons for life. Okay. Cool, man. So we are ready with arm repair. We are ready. We got the stance going. For the love of Pete, man, save. Okay. So that's how he's going to be standing. Like, bring it. Yeah. See, I feel like he's got a little too much detail in here. So there's just no relief. So I'm going to add to this piece of his hauberk. Where it's smooth right there. See that? So I just want to get relief. And greater artists than myself could tell you what the term is for that. Shape relief or density relief, something like that. I don't know. But back here, the relief is great. And there, the relief is good. You know, shoulders can be superstars. That's okay. But not everybody can be a superstar, or then nobody's a superstar. Okay. Cool. I'm getting a little bit on the peckish side. That means I need some breakfasts. Ooh, I love that scar on his cheek. That's cool. I love that scar on his cheek. I love the things I make. This is so corny. All right. Boots! Let's do some boots. The sum of a boot can be measured in its knee pad. So just using some twirling motion here to get some trapezoids rather than cubes for the knee pads. And then again, I'm going to try to get this sense of relief. So we're just going to do like these partial strapping. And then we're going to go right to the feet. So we're just going to leave some nice relief of detail down here. Need at least enough pants to... My crotch leads the way into battle. Oh, sure, why not? All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So I hope you guys are excited to see this character in mini form on a table sometime in the future. I'm going to do the first set of prints through Shapeways, and that will be awesome. Okay, now, feet, I like to do once I have some terrain in place, right? Because you don't always have your feet placed exactly the same on uneven terrain. So let me clean up a little bit. Get those, kind of top of the foot guards that come on your boot. And then you've got a little bit of the heel strap that comes with a good boot like that. And then we'll get the heels and everything. But for now, looking good. Just little armor hangers here. Just more dumb detail to hide the fact that I don't know how to sculpt. Cool. Boo, boo. So I'm sitting on, what, an hour and a half. I just saved so I can step out of the matrix safely. Pull the needle out of my neck, Morpheus. You big jerk. Give me another gray sweater and let's have some mead. Or some gruel. They don't have mead in the Matrix. Although that one French guy does. He has everything. I can't. I'm tangled. Prosthetic leg tangled with Oculus Rift. That's not a problem a lot of people can claim to have. Okay. And that, sculpting streams are a dream come. Hey Aaron, what's up, man? Good to see you there, bro. Hope all's well in your world and good with your family for the holidays down there in the deep, dirty South. Hi, everybody. 116 of you still sticking around. That's awesome. Wow. Great to have you. Did I successfully get my thing off my thing? Am I winning in life right now? I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. So we've just been doing this like live, so I just do that, and you just see it all happen right in front of you. Dungeons and Dragons, ladies and gentlemen. Stupider and more improvised than 70% of the streams on YouTube. Okay, that coffee is about as cold as a dead snake's belly in a snow rut. Well, what time? Yeah, okay. So that was about an hour and a half of sculpting, and I'm coming in on the home stretch with that dwarf. So, like, that to me is a great return on investment when it comes to time, and that was just doing one live. So we'll be doing some other kinds of art, which will be going into print products and stuff. And like, if you see this samurai that I just posted, that portrait sculpt, I did a treatment of that into black and white and then placed it into a kind of a text layout, and it's awesome. So it's going to be a great way to kind of augment or supplement my ink art that I do for modules and stuff. Man, reading, yes, I kind of got done with a cursory reading of Rapana Thuk. I just got through Simbarum. I've been reading Fate Core, and I just started in on Udmar, which is the, or Umdar. Udmar. Umdar is a Fate supplement for this crazy mutant sci-fi pulp world. Finished a lot of those things. Almost there, yeah. Just rereading Dungeon World again and just getting my head around how to hack Dungeon World again. You know, it's just no walking away from how fun that system is. Hey, Raymond Denny, thanks, man. Appreciate the compliment. Hope you stick around for a spell. Yeah, Roland, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? And it's like, I hate to be cheesy about it, but this literally is the future. They finally opened up 3D modeling to a wider audience. I've been 3D modeling since way back in the video toaster days with Softimage in like 1996. And like, it has always been a struggle to 3D model. And with this technology, I think we're going to finally see a lot more artistically inclined people who can jump right in and create. And I'm just excited to see what everybody makes. It's just going to be a great era of great. Is there a way of purchasing your work? Minister, the main way right now to help me out is to buy a copy of my book on Amazon. It's called Mud and Horn, Sword and Sparrow.
So if you just go on Amazon and search for Runehammer, it's the first result. So please, thank you for your support, and go buy a copy of my book. I think you will really like it. It's actually better reviewed than Volo's Guide right now. But anyways, I appreciate you asking, because that's what I'm going to try to get into in 2017. Is I want to get more of my work into you guys' hands to use at the table, not just videos. And we're going to keep the prices low. We're going to make it easy access and try to get more work out. Do I feel wobbly when you come out of the rift, Brandon? No, I don't, dude. I do this stuff for a living, so I'm VR proof at this point. Some of the experimental camera work in some of the games will give me the woozies, but no, I work in VR several hours every day, so it really is not harmful to your eyes or your sense of balance or any of that stuff. I think a lot of that is myth, if anybody's thinking that. It's very easy on the eyes. In a lot of ways, I find it easier on the eyes than monitors, because volume is so natural to look at. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that, Megamoo. Are we going to see any models of Sparrow or Vald? Ooh, Aaron, you know what? I got a hard rule on this stuff. I do not do any portrayals of the characters in the books, because I think the magic of the books is that you imagine who they are, and the minute I was to tell you what Vald looked like, I think it might wreck it. Scurvy 2K. Right now, my day job is at Carbon Games. I'm working on Air Mech and working on some unannounced projects for Oculus. So that's going to be great. Also, I need to put this post up, but it just got official here about a week ago, or a week and a half ago. I am being featured as the featured artist at Oculus headquarters in San Francisco on January 18th. So I'm going to be doing a live sculpt from Oculus. No pressure, right? On January 18th, they're got me a hotel room, so I'm going to fly down there and sculpt live at Oculus. So I'm going to be doing like a war mech for them. So I'll put up the link for that stuff. That's going to be crazy. I'm so excited, and thank you, Lydia and Naomi from Oculus, for the invite. It's going to be a blast. I'll get that announcement up. What do you do for work? Graphic design. Chris Haynes. Hey, I'm a game designer, artist, concept artist. I write, obviously, a bunch of stuff. I write, dialogue and text for games. Yeah. I work with a lot of really talented people who do a lot of different disciplines. So right now I got to just jump around and try to keep up. But the true love of the thing that I have done throughout the years has always been tabletop. It is the glue that makes it all stick together. So my dream is ultimately to get myself a little cabin and just do this stuff and have friends over and somehow make a living out of it. I think I'm getting closer and closer all the time. The advent of YouTube and the influence of the internet and of on-demand publishing on the tabletop hobby has been beyond estimation. Everything has changed. In the traditional print era, man, just things were tough to get material out. So yeah, if anybody wants to come and have a beer on January 17th in San Francisco, maybe we can meet up and kick it. That's about it for me, though. Dear Lord, do I need something to eat? What games have I worked on? I've shipped something like 25 titles, and there's a lot of them. Probably my favorite one, if we just want to cut through a lot of it, it was Shinobi. Really, really proud of doing Shinobi 3D on the 3DS. Worked with a great team, had a blast creating it, got great response from fans, and contributed to, in my mind, one of the most legendary franchises in all of video games. So that was a real highlight for me. I was really proud that I did that. I'm wanting to learn how to sculpt and make games. Do you think it's important to learn how to draw? Hell yes, everything's important, Koala Bear. Especially nowadays, the industry is tight because a lot of people want to be in it. And the more people that want to be in it, the tighter it can be and the more it can demand of people. So, man, I would say you got to get good at everything. Do it all and do it with passion. Hey, Aaron, thanks for stopping by, dude. Merry Fishmas to you and yours, my brother. Oh, Hardcore must be multitasking his videos, so he's watching the 3Ds in 3D right now. That's awesome. Oh, Saturday morning, I love you. It's such a nice sensation. It's so quiet around the house. I think the dogs are actually asleep, which is like, whoa, awesome. I'm about to wake them up and drag them through some frozen bushes. But first, I got to eat some breakfast. So I got to sign out. I can't believe so many of you guys showed up with no notice. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support, you guys. Remember, too, if you really want to help me out with like 2017 with evolving, throw a buck or two in the support this channel button on the Drunkards and Dragons homepage. Go sub to my Facebook group because that's where we announce a bunch of stuff. And please buy a copy of Mud and Horn. The second and third books in the Runehammer series are underway. John is almost done editing the second book, which is called The Shield of Hanar. And the third book, which is called Of Wolves and Wonders, is about a third done. Yo, ground beef, peace. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. That is enough goodbye. I'm going to go eat breakfast. You guys have a good Saturday and a good weekend. I'll see you on the next one. I'll archive this stream and look forward to more Oculus streams. Now I got the gear set up. And we're going to do a room design, I think, for the next sculpt stream. It's going to be awesome. I'll figure out how maybe I can have a way of seeing the stream while I sculpt, and we're gonna push the edge of the tech on this. Yeah. Maybe I'll shave next time. Nah, fuck it. Okay, Marco, the Facebook is Drunkards and Dragons on Facebook. Thanks, Olivier. Oh man, I appreciate that. There's just one book right now, and the other two will be coming this year. And lots more. So thank you everybody for stopping by. Get the hell out of here. Go have fun. I'm out. I'll see you next time.